Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Tracy Limon joining us here today, the owner of Limon Health, and we are excited that she's back here helping so many women really find their voice and help them empower them in any way possible. So excited to have her back here. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, pleasure to see you. And for those new timers out there, first and foremost, how do we find you?
You can hit me up on TikTok under transformative care. And well, it's transformative_care. My email is Limon, Lim as in Mary, O N as in Nancy, health LLC at gmail.com. And you can always reach me on my direct number is 515-423-9648.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about what you do and what Limon Health is all about.
So, what I do is I focus on coaching women to better understand themselves, how to understand their partner so they know how to communicate effectively along the lines of the things that they need and want, more particularly in the bedroom.
And how did you come across this? Tell us a little bit of your background. And, for those new timers out there, a lot of people may not know about your history, your past. What do you want to share with them?
So, I am a marriage and family therapist. One of the things I've always loved talking about was human sex and sexuality, because there are other mammals that do the same thing we do. And so it's very interesting on the things that go with it. So when I work with women, I help them have that strength and that courage and build their own self up instead of, looking at like confidence. What I work on is understanding the matriarch within yourself. And so that is how to take power, how to take ownership, onus to yourself. And so that's something I've always wanted to help women doing. And so now I'm finally stepping out of the therapist role and going more into the coaching role, and helping ladies with that.
Oh, I love it. And you've always been, someone who loved helping people as a
Yes.
humanitarian, as I think those are the words you described.
Yep.
And can we go over some of these, some of the work you're doing and how
Mhm.
you are empowering people specifically?
So I worked in a few places helping women. So one was a facility only for women, and it was oh my gosh, for drug and alcohol abuse, a rehab center, and helping them learn how to communicate with their children. And then it became, how do I communicate with other adults? Now I know how to talk to kids. And I've also worked directly with kids. Well, I should say teenagers, some even pregnant or had a baby, and working with them in the sense of how they're understanding their sex and sexuality and things like that, because they've already experienced the number one thing that is extremely life changing, and that's having a baby. And so making sure that they know how to utilize their voice because they're still so very young. Um, and it's kind of the same for people with substance abuse. They get trapped at the age that the addiction took over. So I could talk to a 30-year-old and she thinks she's like 16.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, there's, what do you find? What are the types of women, what age women, shall I say, are you working with strategically? Is it teenagers to young adult or
No, this is 25 and up.
25 and up? Okay, good.
Yep. And this is for single women and married.
Got it. All right. Well, I want to hear more of what the coaching process and, what you're talking about, please.
So what what I do is I focus on the psychology, your psychology of what is going on in your body and in your mind. So if you're having a hard time with identifying with your partner, like, okay, I don't like when you do this, always use I statements. So you're not making your partner feel like, like poop for not pleasing you, but instead offer a solution too. And that's where that matriarchal idea comes into play, where they take charge of the bedroom. And I have been told several times that men want to know, what can I do? How can I help her? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know where she's at in her mind. And, I don't know where you need to meet her. And so focusing a lot on that, focusing on getting over the butterflies and the giggles when, you want something. And always make it fun. Sex can be a chore sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're trying to have children, if
Yep.
you're trying to keep your marriage alive. You don't ever want it to turn into a chore, because once it does, then that's when the romance tends to die. And that's where you see all the little things start happening in the relationship. When you notice that, look at it and stop and say, okay, I've
Yeah.
noticed this. Have you? And that hopefully sheds some light on where are we not meeting? Where are we having a hard time? And a lot of times, if it's not finances, it's the bedroom.
Wow. Yeah, it's true. And that's a sensitive topic, right?
It
And sometimes
is.
hard to talk about, but it's good having a female like yourself, talking and
Thank you.
empathizing, with us. I get it.
hmm And it's super important too, because a lot of women, especially if you are of faith, it is, I do what the man says to do. And the women don't feel complete or feel whole. They just feel like, that's my job, and it's not. And I can honestly say that there are some religions where women, they're the most kinkiest. I'm just gonna put it out
Tell,
there.
tell us, tell us.
And so, okay, so Christians mainly are very, very into like an array of things. Some I've seen bring others into the bedroom. I've been asked about pornography, if they should
Mm-hmm.
watch pornography together. I'm like, you do what you feel is right for you, both of you, not just like, oh, it's right for my husband, so I'm just going to stick it out, or vice versa. No, no, you have to be on the same level, same playing field and everything. They have used a lot of toys.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, I used to sell pure romance, and that was 90% of my clientele were Christian women.
Wow. This is good. See, we all have our things. We all have our fetishes. We all have our needs and wants, and
Mhm.
nothing is off limits. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone is an individual, to each his own. And I so commend that in everyone. And just be open, live your life, do what you want. And wow, I love it. I love hearing these things. So I feel, I'm not alone. We're normal. These things are normal,
Yes.
right? In the bedroom topics, normal. Talking about sex toys, normal. This is great. This is
Mhm.
important. I agree.
Well, and the thing too is that women, we have over what is it, 16,000 nerve endings in the vagina inside, not on the outside, where men have theirs on the outside.
Mhm.
So that's why our pleasure sensors are in different locations. So men can be physically stimulated where women might not so much. Might take a little bit more effort. That's because it's in there. It's not on the outside.
Interesting. Didn't know that. 400, you said? Wait, 400
Oh,
spots?
16,000 nerve endings.
Oh my gosh. Okay, compared to a man's how many?
Same, but on the outside.
Got it. Wow. Oh my gosh. All right, you're teaching me a lot today, and I hope our listeners too. What else do you have for us? This is good conversation.
That anything that you might see as taboo, like bringing another person in or like anal play. We talk a
Mm-hmm.
lot about that. These are things that, as long as you both are okay and secure in trying something like that, consent has to be number one. Not just okay, consent to do, but consent to continue, consent to start, to stop, all of it. So, just because she says, yeah, let's try that, and then gets uncomfortable and says, no, you can't turn around and say, but you said it was, no, 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 no. Consent starts and stops at any moment. And guys, ladies, listen, no is a complete sentence. I don't have to tell you why I said no. Just like
Yeah.
you don't have to tell me why.
No.
And I think we're held to the standard of being prudish if we don't meet these men's feelings or goals or whatever. But I feel that women are being dismantled in the home and just teased for not bowing down. And that, no, no more.
My
But
goodness.
ladies, it's time for us to take over.
I agree. I'm with you. And remind us how we can reach out to you since we are halfway through. We always got to reestablish, how we
Oh,
can reach you. Thank you, hon.
yeah. So email is Limon Health LLC at gmail.com. I'm on TikTok at transformative underscore care. Or, yeah. And then my phone number is 515-423-9648.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. All right. What else do we have? I know there's a lot with relationships, and it's important, I think, that we are more open, clear what we want. But some people may be uncomfortable talking about this. So how do you break through and have some break through their partner about, these type of intimate conversations?
Right. And so part of the program that I am building is looking at the aspect of now we have to do the psychology part. And the psychology part is building up to being comfortable to talking about it, not just rushing right in and just talking about it. Like me myself, I had to build myself up with the confidence and the know-how to say what I want or say how to say it pretty much. And I didn't learn that until I became a therapist. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I became a therapist, I'm like, oh, that's easy. So I want to teach, all these women, any women, about this because the aspect of being comfortable is extremely important and being confident in how, like, even if you might fumble your words a little bit, be like,
Yeah.
okay, give me a second. Because it's hard sometimes. And women were taught to, we don't talk about these kind of things. So it's like now we're put on the spot and it's just like, no, you're doing great. He's like, stop saying that. Stop, because it perpetuates the behavior that uh
Yeah.
it's okay for you not to be satisfied and it's okay for him to be satisfied. So it's no more of that.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, this is good. I'm just letting you go here. What else did you want to share? Because this is just, I don't have to ask any questions. You're just amazing. And this is good factual information. What
Thank
else do we
you.
talk about? Come on, this is good.
So to break the ice is first getting to know yourself. So, what does that mean? So, what I always challenge women to do is check out your body parts. What do they look like? Have you seen it before, or is that new? Um, all different things. It's an old thing that my great grandma told me, and it's standing over a mirror. Get naked, stand over a mirror, and look at yourself. And this is how you get to know your body parts, and you understand what's what you like, what you don't like, things like that. Then you slowly move into ideas of, masturbation.
Yep.
What kind?
Self pleasure.
Exactly. Excuse me. Like, one second, sorry.
Sure, sure, sure.
So that's self-pleasure. Do that by yourself first. Figure out how you like to be touched first, by yourself. It's too much to bring in your partner and be like, okay, do this. Okay, now do that. Because then it's kind of like, a mechanic operator, like trying to figure out all the buttons and levers, like what? What? Um, and when you get to know yourself, you start to become confident and relaxed to talk about, this is how I like to be touched. This is where I want to be touched. Let's explore with like ice or food or, different location. Just don't get in trouble. Just don't don't do it in public.
Mhm.
You know, but like different locations in the house. No kids are around. It's a free for all. Have
Mhm.
fun with it, and then that's when a lot of the exploration will start coming out slowly, but with security. So
So true. Go ahead. Oh no.
I hope that was that okay?
It's perfect. Absolutely. No, I thought we had a glitch there. All
Oh,
good. Perfect timing. And how do I describe this? If you are tuning in, I get to see Tracy. She looks beautiful today, by the way, with her makeup, if you're not on the Zoom. And I mean, I love face-to-face conversations like this. With your clients, are you doing in person, Zoom like this, over the phone?
So the course is going to be go at your own pace. However, there is a once a month meeting. And so everybody that's in the course will be in the room and we'll talk about, the topic at hand. And then they will go to breakout rooms and share what they've done and what they found out about themselves. And hopefully that will encourage other women to either do that or try to build the confidence with them and then come back together and then we all talk about what they spoke about and then how I can help them move a little bit forward this time because I always give homework. I give
Oh,
homework
you
to
do.
always. I have to because here's the thing. As a therapist, I look at therapy as a teaching role where you have whatever's going on in your life, and I'm here to help you realize
Yep.
what it is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I am going to help you steer you in the direction to what it is, where it's located, and then watch for patterns. So if it happens again, you can be like, pump the brakes here, and pretty much reclaim your life so you're not held, by some weird standard or something that doesn't work for you. And so making sure that, if you did the first homework, okay, great. Now you're going to do the second homework, and this can be even better because then it slowly starts to go into playtime. It goes
Mhm.
to education and learning, and then it slowly moves into play.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me also ask you, the work that you're doing, how has, who inspired you and how do you, do you also go to a coach? Do you see someone to talk? Like, you're helping so many women, but who would you say inspired you or has helped you through this as well?
So even though I didn't have a personal relationship with her, I have studied her very closely, and that is Dr. Ruth. She is well, they always call her the sex doctor, but sure, that's what she, talked a lot about. Did a lot of exercises and teaching men and women at the same time. And I want to say, I believe she was a psychologist. And I remember when I was at a really young age, this older woman on Oprah talking about sex freely. And I'm just like, what is this? And I was a little kid at the time. And then I just followed her ever since, just, any book she had, anytime she would show up on TV. I think she even had her own little channel for a little bit with like XM or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Cool.
And yeah. And so just getting the knowledge and understanding from somebody that's even older, that's not only been in the career field for a long time, but has so much knowledge that it never gets boring, never ever. Um, and then just I talk to a lot of my own friends that I have in the field of therapy, but I also have my own therapist, so I can let them know, like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going nuts sometimes. Then they help, pull me back in.
Yeah.
I need it sometimes, like you need to
Yes.
hear this story, but I never say names. Everything is always confidential. And I'm like, okay, what would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
Because it lays on my heart and my mind that the way that women get treated, and it's just like, no, this cannot keep happening. And if we can take one power, then that is the intimacy that we have with our partners.
Beautifully said. I love this. Thank you. Limon
Yeah.
Health, if you are just tuning in, how do we reach out to you?
By email at Limon, it's Lim as in Mary, O-N as in Nancy. It's health LLC at gmail.com. Also, I'm on TikTok, that is transformative_care, or my phone, 515-423-9648.
Perfect. And we still have a few more minutes left, but any keys to success that you notice in all your years of working with women and couples and relationships to keep that relationship healthy? Is there any basic tips that you find, a commonality through your clients that could maybe resonate with us today?
Right. Yes. Communication. Communication is so important, and I'm sure everybody's heard it time and time again, but there is a key to it. So if you talk to fight, then you will lose. But if you talk to understand, that's when you will win. And when I say win, I mean by gaining insight, not, pointing fingers, and always use I statements. You know, if say my husband drove me crazy on something, I don't say, well, you did this. No, I say, look, I feel like this when you did this, and then that's when we can have that open conversation. It's learning how to change the dialogue to have it flow health in a healthy way, in a constructive way. And there's always ways to like explain your frustration without showing your frustration. And always see about, talk to your partner and say, hey, can we hold space for one another when we're frustrated? Because, like, if Susie gets frustrated because she's, stay-at-home mom, and she does so much and feels that she doesn't get any appreciation from her husband, then we need to learn that husband needs to hold space for her and just stop and listen, and vice versa. Like, she needs to know how to hold space for her husband so that she could stop and listen. Because this is not a personal attack on anybody. This is just human life. We get stressed out all by ourselves sometimes.
Darn right we do. Oh, it's so true. All right. Well, in closing today, as an independent, therapist and coach, how did you want to leave off with everyone today?
Um, I guess, you know what? The phone line is open. Call or text. If I don't answer, leave a message, please. Because if you want to be a part of my little beta testing that I'm doing with my course, that would be really helpful, because I want to make sure that I am reaching not just the right people, but in a healthy and productive way.
Aw, well, thank you so much. And pleasure to have you back here. And Limon Health, we're excited to talk to you. If you want to reach out, and are we back together again next week?
Yes.
Sweet. Hopefully, things will go smooth. We'll have a good conversation. And feel free if you ever want to share, anything on your screen, from your sessions, your clients, any visuals, we can always share your screen since we are on the Zoom, just to let you know.
Okay.
Bring on a guest or two if they want to talk as well. They can always tune in and share their experience about working with you.
Ooh.
Anything like that is great. But thank you, Tracy. It was a pleasure, and looking forward to the next time we connect.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's so fun and exciting. So I'm glad to see you next week.
From one powerful woman to the next. Thank you, darling. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.